Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in. Let's just give it a couple of minutes and we should start soon.
And as we're waiting, shall I launch the first poll?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have a series of polls for all of you who joined in today. Very simple, and we'd like you all to participate. So as we're waiting to start and introduce everybody, I just launched the first one. I hope it's visible. Yes, great. Responses have started coming in.
Yeah, welcome everyone and looking forward to the poll that you are taking, and we should be starting shortly in a few minutes. We've had quite a large number of people who have signed up, so we are just trying to do justice to their entry, but we should start shortly. Okay, so in the interest of time, we are going to start. And a warm welcome to all of you. We are really excited to host, this webinar on humans, machines, and the next leap, innovation at the intersection. Thank you for making time from your busy workday and joining in today. I'd like to give you a quick background for those who don't really know about Unfold. We are an organization that is working on the agenda to fuel and inspire entrepreneurship across the industry. We've been doing this since 2017, and we have a vibrant entrepreneurship digital community. It'd be great for all those who are not part of the community to join in and get opportunities to attend and even co-create with us sessions like this. We have a first of its kind unique award to recognize entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship at the organization level, at a business unit level, at the level of individuals as teams, and entrepreneurial capability in terms of new ideas, new thinking. And my colleagues will share some literature as the webinar goes on. We also have a unique conclave, which is coming up in November, that you will, get to hear from us shortly, on which is in its seventh edition, for having a dialogue discourse looking at entrepreneurship. And this year we are looking at the dialogue and amplifying human potential with AI and robotics, which is really the theme as well for our first webinar as we build the roadmap for the conclave. So very excited to have you all part of this conversation. I think it's an evolving, emerging need of the hour. I don't think there's any right or wrong answers to conversations like this, and that is why we brought together a cross-industry panel of leaders to share their perspectives. I think everybody is learning. It's first time in history when you are in an untried and untested world, is that we are all learners and students as much as those of us imparting knowledge. So I'd like to welcome, our panel for today, and start with my first panelist. I think Gita, you're on already. Gita. Gita has joined. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So our first guest is Gita Ghosh. She is the Deputy General Manager in Strategic IP and Innovation Management at Mercedes-Benz Research and Development, MBRDI in short. She leads the innovation portfolio at MBRDI, driving strategic initiatives at the forefront of automotive advancement, with a robust background in strategy, sales and marketing, market development and operations with the Mercedes-Benz ecosystem. Gita's roles have always been global in scope, touching financial and insurance as well as mobility services. Her academic foundation includes a BSc in Applied Economics, an MSc in Innovation Management from Germany, and participation in the MBA program at IIT Roorkee. Gita is renowned for passion for continuous improvement and global innovation. Outside of her professional life, she enjoys traveling with family and friends and cherishes time she spends with her son. A warm welcome to you, Gita. Gita is an old friend of Unfold, and MBRDI has been an active participation in a lot of our initiatives, including, have won the Vanguard Awards. So warm welcome, Gita, for continuing to support this conversation with us for the industry. Our second panelist for today, the leader is Komal Khullar. She's a seasoned leader in the banking and financial services industry, BFSI, with a distinguished career spanning more than 20 years at premier institutions, including SBM Bank India, HDFC, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and ICICI. Her expertise covers business, digital transformation, risk compliance, operations, and customer service. Most recently, Komal has spearheaded risk management and compliance functions, establishing business compliance units and delivering strategic outputs across the bank. She also boasts a wealth of experience in sales, business development, and revenue growth. Komal's ability to drive results in diverse settings and her deep understanding of digital initiatives and regulatory landscape might make her an invaluable asset to our panel. A warm welcome you, Komal, to be part of this conversation with us. Our next guest is Aman Lamba, and he happens to also sit right next to me. Our third guest is Aman Lamba, global leader for partner success at Gigamon. With over 2 decades of experience, Aman leads Gigamon's global partner success organization, overseeing 350 plus partner resources across the Americas, EMEA, and APAC. Aman's focus is on revenue growth through traditional subscription and consumption-based models, supporting partners with tailored go-to-market strategies, technical training, and proactive engagement. Known for his mastery in customer success and channel partnerships, Aman has consistently empowered partners to exceed growth and retention targets. His passion for aligning business objectives with partner needs, coupled with his commitment to innovation and collaboration, has resulted in impactful outcomes for customers. partners worldwide. Thank you so much, Aman, to be part of this conversation today with us. And our last panelist for the day is Upendra Sai Gandhi. Upendra Sai is a distinguished data analytics professional with a career spanning over 25 years in risk management, analytics capability, setup, business development, solution development, and delivery. Currently leading data analytics and AI for APMEA region at Wipro, work with guide unlock the transformative power of data and AI. Early leadership roles at Latent View Analytics, Ernst& and Young LLP, Tata Teleservices, and Bharti Airtel. His core strengths lie in setting up analytics teams, cross-sector business development, and solution enhancement. Upendra is a chartered accountant and holds a certification in business analytics and intelligence from IMB. His process orientation, cross-cultural acumen, and exceptional presentation skills make him a pillar in the analytics community. Thank you so much, Upendra, for being with us in this conversation today. I would also like to introduce my co-moderator and the anchor for the session today, Mr. Shailendra Mruthyunjayappa, who is the president and CEO of Fintellix, a global leader in smart, scalable platforms for data analytics, regulatory reporting, risk management, compliance insights, and supervisory data. With more than 25 years of expertise in banking, Shailendra has played a pivotal role in shaping Fintellix's vision and steering the company through its evolution from a bootstrap startup to a thriving, profitable enterprise. His strategic leadership has been instrumental in several success M&A initiatives. Prior to Fintellix, Shailendra held a range of leadership positions across the global fintech landscape, spanning core product development in Europe, solutions implementations in India and Southeast Asia, professional services in West Africa, and founding a consulting venture in Central Europe. So a warm sort of welcome, Shailendra, to co-moderate this and be the anchor for the conversation today. Shailendra is also part of the Unfold's Intrapreneurship Board. We've actually set up an Intrapreneurship Board so that we can scale the impact of this dialogue, impact of the agenda that we have, across boundaries. So thank you so much for being invested with Unfold and looking forward to a very exciting conversation. I think it's a hot topic, in terms of the way the world is transforming and shaping. While a lot of perspectives are emerging, we haven't yet seen the end of it. I think the dialogue today is going to be exploratory. We would like to also get perspectives from the audience to the polls that we are going to be hosting, so that and feel free to keep reflecting and putting your questions. And I will also ask the panelists to keep looking at the questions. And as you talk, you can also respond so that everybody's voice is heard. Thank you so much, and over to you, Shailendra.
Thanks, Puja. And like Puja mentioned, we have cross-industry, cross-sector type of a panel. I think we'll get a wide variety of perspectives. And very interestingly, it's also a very cross-functional team of leaders coming from sales, partnership, business operations, risk and compliance, and product and innovation. Let's begin with what's happening all around us, right? Across the different industries, different sectors, AI and robotics are not just streamlining processes, automating processes. They're also becoming like the foundation, the bedrock for reinvention of each of these industries and sectors. There are some industries which have leapfrogged and sprinted ahead. Some industries and some sectors are closely watching and being very guarded and measured in what they do. And while some more are just laggards and waiting to see what happens and how they can get onto the bandwagon. The real question is, what are the kind of the most transformative changes, and how the leaders are translating this technology and the potential of this technology into breakthroughs for today and the future. So I want to begin by asking each of the panelists, and I want each of you to kind of maybe take turns and give your own perspectives because you come from different industries. What are the most transformative ways that you're seeing AI and robotics reshape your industry? And based on your own experience, if you can highlight some of the specific initiatives or instances where you've used AI and robotics to create some breakthrough for your product or your for your organization. I'll leave the floor open. Maybe Aman, do you want to start with picking this question?
Sure, Shailendra. So first of all, thank you, Puja, and entire Unfold team for this opportunity. And the question is very relevant, Shailendra, but rather than just giving answer how this is transforming, I want to set a stage, right? So whatever we see right now in the AI era is just tip of an iceberg, right? So there's a lot of getting built as we speak because we are living in a very different world, which nobody has even anticipated or predicted what's going to happen next. Let me elaborate because this is important to understand that where we are right now and where we are heading. If we talk about till now, from last 10 to 20 or 30, 50 decades, we were only quoting that whoever has got high IQ is more valuable and more knowledgeable in this world. And the second thing, what got introduced around 2 to 3 decades was EQ, that is emotional quotient, right? IQ started because that's where your Einsteins and all the scientists of the world, they had very high IQ. When they used to say something, people could not even understand because others will not be able to even match their IQ. Because if we say Einstein's IQ was 160, and now I'm going to tell you, do you know what was the IQ of ChatGPT 3.5 when it was launched? Any guesses on chat? You can use ChatGPT, but yeah, the answer is 155, right? Just imagine now already we have now 3-4 iterations on top of ChatGPT 3.5. It has already surpassed Einstein's IQ. And if we think that we can compete or we can even go closer to AI, it is very, very wrong perception which we are building. Now the next question. When we started buying our Android phone back in 2015, it was buggy, it was not stable, right? Now, whatever I use Samsung's S23 Ultra, now we have S25 also. It's one of the most powerful machines and it works flawlessly, right? And over the 10 years, it is going to evolve, and the challenge what we are going to face is it might surpass 1800 IQ. And nobody in the world can even think what AI is going to do when we reach 1800 plus IQ of AI. Therefore, it's important for us. There is a train moving on. We all need to catch that train. If you have not catch that train yet, do it. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to catch it later because you have to run very faster because AI is running very fast. So I did not want to give one example, but wanted to set the stage, Shailendra. Hope you are okay with that.
Thank you, thank you. Maybe I'll go to Upendra and see if he's got any specific examples and that he wants to talk about, and also just generally highlight the trends that he's observing within the industry.
Sure. No, thanks, Shailendra and Puja for having me here. So great context setting, Aman. I think we are all running to catch the train. Hopefully, we'll catch it and have a great journey with it. You see, the way I see within my organization and also the other organizations with whom we consult and work with, AI transforming them in 3 broad categories, right? One is the way the companies operate, right? Today, you see in a lot of organization, the IT processes, HR processes are getting disrupted with AI. In fact, within our organization, we have a chatbot integrated within the Teams messaging app, wherein you can like, for example, one day I got logged out of my laptop and I couldn't figure out how to do. I went into Teams in my mobile and said, hey, I'm not able to log into my laptop, and immediately it raised a ticket on its own and somebody called me and rectified it, right? So AI, agentic AI, robotics is helping organization to operate better, making time for people to do more productive work, right? The second aspect is in any organization, you are servicing your customers, be it with products or services. So AI plays a significant role in delivering better, right? I think classic example is contact center, where we have seen upwards of 30% reduction in contact center operations cost, 5 percentage points or more increase in the net promoter score of the customers, all powered through AI, right? So agent assist, intelligent call routing. In fact, in certain cases, agents, AI agents replacing even humans, right? So contact center is a great example of how various organizations are delivering better using AI, agentic AI, and robotics, right? And the third thing, I think that's perhaps the key lever that many organizations are trying to unravel. It's a bit of a challenge. Is how do you change your game with AI, right? Can you do things which you have not done in the past? Can you deliver a different service experience to your client? Can you come up with a new product which was not envisaged at all, right? Maybe the iPhone of 2014, I don't know, it was developed by people. Maybe it took, I don't know, 5-7 years for them to develop an iPhone. Maybe today with AI, maybe the products can get developed faster. Like, so Tesla does a lot of their product innovations using AI. I'm sure Gita can talk about what Mercedes does as well, right? So AI can also help you to change the game, right? So, in fact, to quote Jensen, when he talks about what NVIDIA's whole philosophy of building powerful GPUs, he continues to say that it is about to solve problems which we have even not thought of solving, right? So that's the change the game. So broadly in three categories, Shailendra, just to summarize, the way the organizations operate, the way the organization deliver their products and services to the customers, and the way the organizations can reimagine themselves. That's how I've seen impact of AI across an enterprise.
Thanks, Upendra, for that. And let me switch over to a very different industry where we are also most likely going to get a lot of robotics related examples. Gita, if you can talk about what you're seeing in your industry, both on the AI front as well as the robotics front.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Upendra, also for kind of making the bridge, and thanks, Shailendra, for the intro. Really happy to be part of the session. Also, thanks to Puja and team, of course. Yeah, let me give a little bit of different perspective, also from a personal point of view, because I lead innovation management and strategic IP at MBRDI, Mercedes-Benz Research and Development. And we obviously also look into future technologies and trends, while we, of course, kind of consider that for the whole Mercedes-Benz ecosystem. So looking at AI, I think a couple of things have been already mentioned. Of course, it's all about optimization. I personally feel, and we do that also in my team, AI is definitely more than intelligent, yeah. But the question for me is how we as corporates use AI intelligently, yeah. So where are the right spots? Where is, let's say, work which can be done faster, quicker by AI tools, and where it still makes sense that we have humans, yeah, and not robots in there. So I'm coming back from Germany from a headquarter visit. And for those who know the picture, I was watching the picture with Shahid Kapoor and Kriti Sanon, and it's all about humanoid robots, yeah, which are almost like humans. But I feel, and that's also kind of the connection to our industry. I think robots plus AI, they can do a lot. In fact. We have a robot in our MB ecosystem which was developed. I'll come to that in a moment. But what I wanted to say is, by mentioning the Bollywood picture, is that I think robots and AI also have their limits. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are humans. So in the day-to-day, whether that's in sales, whether that's in production, whether that's in the service industry, there's a certain point where the robot and the AI tools might not be able to make the connection, yeah, because they don't have the human feelings like we have it. Mimicry, everything can be detected by tools like neuromorphic computing, by other devices. But I think the emotions we have as humans, that's something which I feel right now robots and the tools are not able to capture. So coming to the production area, for those who might not know about it, so we actually have co-created a humanoid robot. It's the Aptronic Apollo. Don't know if you have heard about it. So it has it's out for field testing. It's not widely available yet. We mainly use it in the area of warehousing, logistics, to handle solutions, their use cases. It's of course part of the manufacturing, in terms of assisting in industry tasks, and then also potential future applications like construction, oil and gas, electronics production, retail, home delivery, but also parts of the social system, which could be elderly care and some other tasks, let's say in the household, etc. So the USP there is it's designed for friendly interaction with humans. It's AI driven, of course, so it's based on LLMs. It keeps learning, and it can be also integrated and configured in different ways. So it looks, I wouldn't say it looks like a human, but it has elements of a human. So you can kind of customize it as per your requirements. And it's battery driven, so it usually runs for 4 hours with one battery consumption for now. And of course, we are very proud. So we use it, as said, in the area of production and logistics. But we are not using it widely yet because of the features and skills I mentioned earlier.
Fantastic. Thanks, Gita. Thanks for talking us through what you guys are doing and what you're seeing in the industry. Very, very insightful. And hopefully we'll see some MB robots in the market soon. So I'll quickly switch over to Komal, try to get her perspective on and what she's seeing in the BFSI sector around AI, and if there is any use case for robotics at all.
Yeah. Thank you, Shailendra. Thank you for having me here, and I thank Puja for having me on this platform. My colleagues covered a lot on what is happening in AI in their different sectors, in their respective sectors, so to say. In financial services, the pace of AI has been very, very rapid. And financial services is among those industries where I would say that it is a first mover industry. So I have use cases to touch upon which were introduced by the banks I worked for about a decade back. So I'll pick up 2 use cases which possibly the audience can relate to in terms, because we are a service industry, and whatever we do, we have to keep the end customer in mind. So the innovations are happening both from the perspective of offering the best experience to the customer, and of course in terms of improving the efficiencies at the back end as well. So one use case that I would like to touch upon is using machine learning, and the other one that I would touch upon is a prominent case of RPA. So for a machine learning, it's a very prominent use case, and this is now being replicated by banks across in the industry. So it is about introduction of the 10-second personal loan by HDFC Bank way back in 2015. So when we are saying, when we are talking about banks, lending is a big space for banking and financial services. And when it comes to lending, there is complication in terms of the paperwork that needs to be done. The bank integrated the machine learning with its systems to ensure that the end customer is able to avail of an unsecured lending within a flat span of 10 seconds. How they did it? They could integrate the data within the bank by studying the transaction patterns and the behavioral trends of the customer, and make the pre-approved loans available to the end customer based on the behavior that they reflected in the transaction. So the study did not limit itself only to what happened within the banking ecosystem, but also the behavior of the customer outside of banking. For example, if you were looking for a car outside a banking system, the bank had also integrated it through web scraping and could propose a customer in advance an auto loan of a pre-approved amount, which would rightly fit the requirement of the customer. So it definitely led to a lot of convenience, a lot of quickness in making those offerings, and of course made the unsecured lending space, especially on the personal loan and the business loan front, very seamless. And of course, it freed the sales staff from the mundane, redundant inefficiencies and long-drawn processes of doing the paperwork end to end from loan application beginning to the stage of disbursement. So that was regarding machine learning. So now banks claim in today's time, banks have moved one step ahead. So they have replicated, improved on these machine learning models. And now the loans are being offered even in a tenure which is under 10 seconds. So in 3 seconds, 5 seconds are the claims of the banks, which many banks are today making in the industry. The second example that I would want to introduce the audience to is about robotic process automation. It's one of the unique examples in the industry. Not many players are adopting it, but it is about using an industrial robotic arm. So this was introduced by ICICI Bank again way back, say about 8-10 years back in the industry. So all of us know the retail setups. So clients are walking to the branches, depositing cash. The cash doesn't stay in branches, it has to go to a centralized location. And we are compliance heavy, highly regulated industry. So we need to actually be following the guidelines which are also laid by the regulator. So ICICI Bank introduced this industrial robotic arm to sort, bundle, stack the notes in their currency chest. So this is a live project which is still available in the ICICI Bank's currency chest, and it is globally recognized as a very innovative step that the bank took. So the good part about it is usually there is the misunderstanding that when such technologies or when such techniques are being introduced, so it is impacting a human in the manner that there is the scare of job. But in both these use cases, there has been diversion of staff to more productive tasks where a human being is more required than that of a machine. So if we are talking about robotic process automation, of course, it is a repetitive task of counting notes, stacking it, putting it at one place. So the staff could be diverted to more of a to a section or a department where a human is required. I mean, there's an actual need of a human being rather than doing tasks which a robot can do. And there are statistics of these robots counting, say, about 1.8 billion notes in a year, which of course is beyond imagination, or we can't expect such kind of volumes to be processed by a human being, so to say. So of course, there's a lot happening in banking. So there are many other use cases in play. Banks in banks with the digital space, there's continuous evolution, and we expect a lot to see across various functions in the banking sector. So that's it from me.
Thanks, Komal. Very, very interesting examples that you gave. So, like we heard from the panelists, some very good examples of using AI and robotics. I think there are clear outcomes that have been delivered, ROI that is being delivered. In some cases, you heard the kind of gains or lift that Upendra mentioned. Komal mentioned a few specific examples of what kind of value it delivered. So organizations that are able to connect this innovative technology to business processes and outcomes obviously get to benefit from that. And they are able to foster this this structured human and machine collaboration and then creating impact, right? So, and when I say machine, I mean both AI systems as well as robotic systems, and kind of that's a good segue to my next point, which is when we talk about AI and robotics, these are just not tools, right? They are co-drivers of human evolution altogether. But with basically AI systems either augmenting or replacing human intelligence or human cognitive capabilities, and robotics doing the same for human physical capabilities or human labor. So while we are kind of innovating and driving all of this change, it also comes with a lot of responsibility to ensure that our innovation aligns with core human values. Are we protecting our human values? Are we making sure that this is more inclusive and ensuring equal opportunity? And as we scale intelligence and automation, the human workforce should not be left behind. So it's a question to the panelists. Maybe I'll start with Upendra. How do we ensure innovation of AI and robotics kind of remains aligned with human values? Right?
It's a very pertinent question, Shailendra, because I think most of the time we get carried away by the shiny aspects of AI and then tend to forget, who is ultimately driving it and who is going to get impacted by it, right? See, human values, the way I see it, right, at least the spiritual upbringing that I have, we have values like, Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa, right? Sorry to bring that up, but, those values, today you will see there is a deterioration in those values in the humankind itself, right? And what happens is when we develop AI models, that gets accelerated and enhanced, right? Classic examples, I think all of us would have read, it's all in the press, where in the US, a certain community gets identified as, potential offenders, right? Simply because that is what the data had said in the past. Or maybe when one of the hyperscalers tried to use AI to do candidate selection, a certain community of candidates were never getting selected, right? So I think in a way, AI is more a reflection of human biases. Maybe when it reflects, it exaggerates it as well, right? So more than we trying to put a check on AI, I think AI has its own way of putting a check on our own thought processes and behaviors, right? But just coming back specifically, Shailendra, to the point that you mentioned about, how humans need to ensure that the AI that they develop is not biased, it is not having an adverse impact. Responsible AI becomes the core foundation on which a lot of the analytics use cases are being built. Today, we are talking about having an inclusive team, which is actually delivering an analytic solution, right? So, how do you have a team composition which is diverse and which is inclusive? Therefore, the output that the team creates will be, amicable across the board. What we also tend to forget is the power of data, or the power of lack of data in creating a lot of the AI solutions. A lot of biases, a lot of discrepancies tend to creep in because the underlying data is not curated well. So that is another place where I think we'll have to be mindful and ensure that it reflects the right scenario, right? So that you base and develop models, and on that data you're going to get accurate results, right? But at the same time, I think AI, at least in today's scenario, has changed some of the human behavior. Earlier, and I'm sure Raman also mentioned about IQ and all that. Earlier, the person who had the knowledge was the king, but today the person who shares more knowledge is the king in a way, right? When Meta open sourced Llama, that was game changing. Meta, you'll all know, was always a profit oriented organization, but when they open sourced Llama, the game changed for the entire generative AI space, right? So I think AI, in a way, I don't know whether which is the right statement, right? Whether humans are determining AI behavior, or the way AI ecosystem is evolving, it is changing human behavior. But I think there is positivity all around. We need to be careful. Those guardrails are always important. They never go out of fashion. You need to have your guardrails, but being more open, developing a culture of sharing. I think these are some of the things AI has taught humans. So I'm thinking it's a win-win on both sides, Shailendra.
Thanks, Upendra. No, you rightly said it's a co-evolution of AI and humans, because one is influencing the other. Fantastic. I think I'd like to get maybe Gita's view on this as well. in terms of how you see innovation in AI and robotics kind of is aligned with human values?
Sure, yeah, it's a difficult question because I mean, if we have a look at the maturity level also of the robots, the humanoid robots, and also the AI tools, I mean, compared to let's say 2-3 years ago, we are quite advanced. But at the same time, if we look at the maturity level of these robots, also we kind of run in our plants. And BMW, for example, is also kind of deploying them on an industry level than other industries as well. But I think it's quite clear that these tools and robots are not mature yet, yeah, because they're again coming back to what we discussed earlier. There are certain limits, yeah, and that comes with the responsibility. I mean, it's always the question of opportunities and also the data. Yeah, when we look at it from a data point of view, the opportunities are there, for example, also in the healthcare segment, yeah, or other industries. I personally see a lot of possibilities and potential when it comes to the combination of AI and then robots, yeah, which can help again in care, in medicine, in the pharmaceutical industry, etc., etc. But then at the same time, because I also worked in the insurance industry for Mercedes-Benz, how much data does an individual really want to share? Yeah, and I mean, in India and let's say in the Asian area, we are still quite open with sharing data. Yeah, we have UPI. I mean, the data is shared naturally in the day-to-day. But looking at the Western world, specifically when it comes to Europe, and then because we are a German-based company as well, data protection is a huge issue. Yeah, when I say issue, it's hurdle and opportunity at the same time. So kind of protecting the private space, the private data, but then also kind of blocking, I would say, and limiting the opportunities of these kind of AI tools, because it can certainly benefit in processes, as I said, also products for humans, let's say from a business point of view. But then you, of course, kind of have to get the acknowledgement and agreement of an individual that this data can be shared and used further. Yeah, so it's a kind of a dilemma, how I see it. Yeah, I personally, for example, coming also from the innovation side, I'm very open. For example, just lately in our team, we did not have a prototype, but it's AI based tool or device, I would say, in the area of health check, yeah, and with fitness and all these things. We kind of tried that just as a kind of prototype in our team, and everybody was very open here in India to share their data. But when we asked the counterpart team in Germany to kind of test it as well, with their health connected data by using the sensors and just kind of trying it, there was a kind of hesitation. Yeah, and which I can totally understand, because I come from both sides. So I grew up in Germany, but I have a very close connection to India, and also where we tend to try out and explore new things. But certainly you sometimes come into a very gray zone easily, yeah, by exploring and accelerating things. And sometimes you might not realize, that this is already coming into a potential private space, yeah, if the data is used further. So, I mean, how we act as Mercedes-Benz, and we do the same here in India from an MBREI perspective, we have an initiative called Responsible AI. And that is basically the umbrella for all the AI initiatives. That means all the data, all the tools which you use, they have certain set of criteria, KPI catalog, and also have to go through some kind of rules and regulations set, because we don't want to deal with irresponsible data or irresponsible tools. So this is how we take care of innovation, still kind of giving the playground for new tools and use cases, but at the same time also taking care and taking the responsibility of the private data.
very beautifully articulated the kind of ethical dilemmas and the challenges in trying to ensure that AI systems are matured, are validated, and conform to human values before they are deployed into production. It's not just about restricting AI or resisting its use. It's about ensuring that we shape it to sort of reflect who we are, who we stand for, and the kind of societal values. And the data example you gave was very valid. In a world where machines are kind of increasingly becoming autonomous, um, you know, leadership should also evolve. And one area of leadership was this example of what decisions you make around how you govern robotics and AI and the impact on humans. But it's not just about that, and it's just not about increasing productivity or improving efficiencies. It's about kind of architecting the right systems, the right flows, the right mindset as we adopt more AI and more robotics, essentially to kind of help amplify the overall human potential. So my next question to the panel is, what are those traits that that modern leaders must embrace to kind of lead through this shift, right? And maybe I'll start with Aman on that question.
Sure. So first of all, great inputs, Shailendra, Upendra, and Gita on the perspective on the human, values and human rights, right? So very, very close topic to my heart as well. So the next question is, what are the traits to be successful in near future? Is that right, Shailendra?
Yeah, what are the traits, kind of what modern leaders must embrace, right? Because leaders are essentially setting the tone of how AI is adopted, how it is used, how it is rolled out. So what are those important traits that that leaders should adopt?
Sure. A great question, and Shailendra, and I want to cover this in 3 or 4 different aspects. One is, there is a difference between need and greed. What I started seeing is everybody is in hurry to adopt and get into AI mode. And I'm talking about some large organizations without quoting their name. They're all trying to compete to get number one in the world, right? And that is where there is a challenge, that if you are more getting into greed mode, you might end up compromising a lot of things which are not good for humanity and our future as human beings. So we have to strike a right balance. Whatever we are doing, like I think you mentioned about the leadership qualities, we have to evolve. That means that it is time to go within. It is time to self introspect, and rather than just relying on IQ and EQ component, which actually helped us to survive so far, I'm introducing 2 new words now. One is IMQ and SQ. Let me talk about it. IMQ is nothing but imaginative quotient. What is imaginative quotient is, you have to use your right and left brain both, imagine as much as big as you can, and then put that in prompt engineering or prompt. You will get a very different results. And that is the time, because we need to go within, we need to imagine. And then rather than just asking the transaction questions to the generative AI or all the models, imagine and then put across, you will get a very different results. And I try it and you try, you will see the difference. Second and most important part, the fourth topic which I wanted to talk about is SQ, that is spiritual quotient. It is super, super important for us to go within and explore things to get all the answers which are not available in the outer world. So thank you so much.
Very, very interesting, Aman. Imaginative quotient and spiritual quotient. Let me ask Komal to share her perspectives on kind of leadership traits that are important as we evolve through AI and robotics.
Yeah. In our view and what trends we see here in our industry, the most important trait that is required is digital competence. So we are talking about digital literacy, awareness of the digital tools, systems. All of that is a must. Like you rightly mentioned, Shailendra, that the tone is set from the top, so that leaders have to show the way. So digital literacy is non-negotiable in today's time. Mindset of a of an individual, leader or a non-leader, is very, very important. So growth mindset is something, and openness, rigidity is no longer applicable. We are living in a very volatile working environment. So in the last 5 years, AI has evolved in 500 different forms. So machine learning to a deep learning to a generative AI to a agentic AI. The foundation remains the same, but the evolution is happening at a rapid pace. So resilience and the ability to adjust, adapt is very, very important. So rigidity is something which is completely outdated. So that is definitely a must for a leader to have. And of course, that can be translated into outcomes, and it can be transferred to the people that an individual leads. And then it would be a lifelong learning attitude that an individual needs to keep. So because the things are changing fast, the pressure of upskilling and reskilling there's no need to get overwhelmed by the pressure of learning. There should be more of a motivation and to see your learning to corroborate with your growth in the career, rather than taking it as a peer pressure or a media pressure or an internet pressure of jobs going away and coming under the burden of not being able to adjust with the changing times. Adaptability is key. So these are the factors which definitely will are important for the leaders. And today we are developing AI systems with empathy. So humans can't be devoid of empathetic traits or the soft skill traits to say. So I think these are 3-4 a must-have for the leaders to team the leads effectively in the changing times and in the kind of digital world we live in. Yeah.
Thanks, Komal. I think digital skills, absolutely right. I think leadership in this modern world will mean kind of integrating technology in the form of various digital technologies and obviously business models to drive certain vision. But it's also about integrating that vision with the right human values, the right ethics, and a mindset of curiosity, a mindset of experimentation, a mindset of adaptability, like you mentioned, right? Kind of approaching it with openness to learn new things and try new things. But as we kind of bring more and more of these AI systems and machines into the fold, how do we carry the people along, right? How do we ensure that the workforce is skilled? We are hiring the right people. We are skilling them with the right competencies and capabilities. And that's the kind of next challenge for leaders in this space. What are those key skills that you would expect from people, right? If you have to define what's a career for somebody in 2025 and beyond, what kind of mindset, what kind of skills, and what kind of roles should people look for? What would you advise? So maybe I'll start with Gita on this one. Gita, you're on mute.
Shailendra, I'm really sorry. The light went off here. So, yeah, okay, it's back. Sorry, I did not get the very last sentence of your question. Maybe if you can just summarize
I was
it.
saying, as kind of AI and robotics kind of is evolving, the skills expected out of people are also changing, right? And changing very, very fast. So if you have to define a career for somebody in as we said in 2025, what kind of skills, what kind of mindset, what kind of role should they be planning for to grow in their careers? What would your advice be?
Mm-hmm. So it of course depends on what, let's say, milestone in their career the individuals are. Yeah. So I would give a more general advice. I sometimes look at my 6-year-old son, and think that he has this kind of resilience and also confidence, which maybe at least my generation when I grew up, we were not forced to have that. Yeah, so presentations and all these things came later when I was at university studying. But these days generation, and including Gen Zs, the generation Alpha, and so on, they already with the media interaction, etc., have a very different approach. Yeah, and I think that goes somehow for me also hand in hand with AI, with the continuous learning for everybody. Yeah, whether they are at the very early stage of their career or whether they have progressed and are at a very senior level already. So what I also keep telling to my team members and also to the organization when we think about culture offensive around innovation clubbed with AI and some future trends, I always tell them, I think the key for me is stay open-minded. Yeah, because we live in a very volatile world. I mean, every day we see that also geographically, politically, technologically, the world is changing literally every day. Yeah, when we are waking up in the morning, we don't know what kind of news is again tackling us, and how the markets and we also as corporates have to react or are supposed to react. Yeah, so it's a very agile approach, and I think it really helps to develop some basic understanding on AI, how AI, ChatGPT, and all these tools work, and where they are beneficial. But I rather share the perspective. I mean, there are sometimes some voices in various industry spaces that all the, let's say, roles in, for example, HR, financial, etc., they might be removed. Yeah, because we think of rationalizing them. I see it differently because, again, coming back to what I shared at the very early beginning, there are certain limitations with robots and AI tools. Yeah, so if I'm, for example, part of a customer journey, or if I'm going through an HR process, there can be parts of the process handled very well through AI, yeah, without any human interaction. But the moment there's any use case which is outside of what the robot or the AI tool has learned, yeah, there might be an error, or the tool comes up with the same message again, which does not help me personally, yeah, as regarding my issue or my question which I have. So you need a human interaction again, which kind of understands the context and also that personal view maybe, which is not covered. So coming back to your question, I think open-minded is the key, and get a basic knowledge on how the tools work, where they are beneficial, where they help in optimization, in efficiency, and I think they should be also used there. Yeah, because I mean, I kind of call it redundant work. So some redundant work can be definitely taken care by these kind of tools, and then you have more space, more time for some other topics or some new learnings, yeah, which come up in your day-to-day work.
Thanks, Gita. Maybe I'll ask Upendra this the same question. Since you are a large IT service provider, you are bombarded with evolving requirements across different industries that you serve. How do you ensure your people cope with the pace of change?
No, absolutely. It's a big challenge, Shailendra, to be very honest, not just for us, who manage large teams, but even also for the individuals who are part of the teams, right? Because I think broadly, three paradigm changes are happening. Firstly, there is no longer a linear progression, which is the norm. Today, you can acquire a skill and suddenly have a lateral jump, right? That's possible today. Secondly, I think people are no longer worried about job titles. It's about the impact that they can create, right? And obviously, the remuneration also is associated with the impact that you create. And thirdly, I think more than stability, I think today it's all about adaptability, right? Back in the day, if you've got a job, then you think you're settled. But today, I think that's no longer the case. A very pertinent example in my case, when I joined Wipro in 2023. it was all generative AI, generative AI. I was doing certifications by the day, by the night to get generative AI certified. And suddenly today it's agentic AI, right? So generative AI is no longer the buzzword, it's agentic AI. So adaptability is the key. So considering these changes, Shailendra, I think if I break it down between mindset and skills, I think the mindsets that we look for in people are, whether do they have a growth mindset, are they able to adapt and learn, is there ownership that they bring to the table, are they curious, and as somebody said earlier, the resilience, right? So these are some of the mindset aspects that we look for. From a skill standpoint, it's about the fluency, the collaboration, the problem solving aspects, because we cannot tie them down to a specific technology, because the technology will become redundant anytime soon, right? So taking a slightly higher view, that is what we look for, Shailendra.
Yeah. Thanks, Upendra. And a kind of related question I have, which is, as we evolve through all of these rapid changes, and we live in a kind of a hybrid world. So you have a hybrid man, you have machine, you have intelligence, all working together. How do you ensure that a kind of culture is protected, and kind of the human value, the human angle of this is protected in a workplace? So maybe Aman, I'll kind of start with you on this question.
Oh, great question, Shailendra. So my 2 cents are, one is we need to strike a right balance between what we are doing and what we are supposed to do, because we are living in a FOMO world, that is fear of missing out. We are overwhelmed right now. We just want to attend everything, do all the assignments and learn everything, right? And try to be somebody else, right? Somebody says AI has good future, even if your acumen is aligned with AI or not, you enroll for some data science course, and then you realize that this is not your cup of tea, right? So what I would say is, instead of going in FOMO mode, you need to switch to JOMO, that is joy of missing out. We need to be very selective. We need to understand that what are our strengths, what are our passions, and then only choose, cherry pick, because you have only limited time, that is 24 hours. Cherry pick your battles wisely, and then focus on what you love doing, and you will have relevance in market and society and everywhere. Otherwise, in FOMO, we all are going to be lost, because even after having all the access to knowledge, we are only scrolling and watching the shorts. Majority of the time is wasted in the instant gratification. So we need to come out from FOMO and practice more and more JOMO to be successful. Thank you.
When you've become known for coining these acronyms, FOMO to JOMO, very interesting. So yeah, I think it's all true. The people and people's culture, it's kind of is not a byproduct of the world we live in of AI and machines. It's a prerequisite, it's a foundation. Including how people manage their own time, how they kind of develop that sense of curiosity, and openness, adaptability, experimentation, like all the speakers mentioned. And when it comes to careers, I think I'll summarize it in kind of one phrase. I think careers from here on into the future is not about how much one person knows, but it is how fast they can learn new things. And I think that will define careers going into the future. Now let's look a little inward. As leaders, how are you staying kind of energized and motivated through all of this? How do you have had to adapt your own life, and kind of be effective in the way you lead, in the way you manage your business, in a world of AI and robotics, right? And many times the biggest change that you have to bring about is first within yourself, before you can make that change around you. So I'll start with that question with maybe Komal.
Yeah. So like everybody here is cognizant of the fact that things are changing very fast. So to stay motivated, we have to be focused. So my colleagues on this platform mentioned that we can't do everything at the same time. So we have to pick our motivation, we have to pick our career goal, and we have to be focused to move in the direction we want to move in. So everybody can be on a different stage of their career, and their literacy in terms of picking up pace with the new technology techniques, the transformation that is happening will be very different. So what works for an individual at their respective career span, being aware of that, picking that line of thought and actions is very, very important. So a focused approach remains very important. And of course, learning is imperative. And from if today we do not we stay away from learning, then automatically we are left behind. So making and we also had people talking on this platform that it is more about the impact that we are creating today rather than being sticking to the titles without the value addition that the title may eventually or at the end of the day. So creating that impact, if you are, I have been a part of key digital initiatives within the organization. So the actual impact that transformation does, the results that you get, the value that you get from the project has much more meaning than has much more meaning and gives you another sense and another reason for you to keep continuing to make those kind of contributions going on. And when I talk about learning, your subject is changing. Like the change is at a very fast pace. So you have to be always abreast with what is happening in your industry, what is happening cross industry. Again, you have to choose your line of work and study. Study, and obviously, when we say study, you have to be picking up those subjects which are relevant to your space of work. There's a lot of information that we get on the net. So we should be aware and we should be ready to separate information from noise. And we should just focus on our goals, our career aspirations. And of course, when we say when we are leading teams, so we also spoke about the culture. So the culture of learning, the culture of adopting to the latest technologies, techniques, everything flows from the top. And in my opinion, it keeps me going to be the front runner, and it is an exciting time to be in the financial services space. And that is how I see it. So all these things cumulative leave you with a lot of motivation and satisfaction at the end of your workday.
Thanks, Komal. Upendra, what about you? Other than obviously getting to your quarterly numbers, what kind of drives you, what motivates you day in and day out?
Yeah, no, absolutely the pace of change, right? But I think internally how I cope with, or perhaps what I believe all of us should be doing is don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Because today it's humanly not possible that, one person will know everything. So not having the fear to say, I don't know, I think it's very critical. And second is, I think collaboration is more important than ever now, because some of the digital natives, who joined the ranks today, they're able to come up with brilliant solutions. Their ability to replicate some of the work that has already been developed is extremely good, right? So this collaboration is a very, very important thing, that is more important than ever to cope with today's landscape, today's evolving landscape. And also, I think it's about picking people who are capable of doing things which they might not have demonstrated, right? I think back in the day, somebody had that view on my career, and that's where my career landed today. I think we need to also replicate and pay it forward in a sense, right? Because as I said, not everybody will know the answers to everything, but if they have the right mindset, that is what will help them. So, but in summary, this is what it is, Shailendra. Don't be afraid to say I don't know. Don't be afraid of replicating some success which somebody has already created, because I don't think you have a lifespan to make all the mistakes yourself. So replicate if somebody has done it successfully. I think that's how I cope with the emerging scenarios today.
Fantastic. A quick point to the audience, the participants. We did save some time for Q&A. If you have any questions that you want to pose to the panel, please share them on the chat. I'll pick those up. Meanwhile, we'll continue the conversation while I wait for any questions to pop up. I'll stick to the same. Sorry, Puja. Okay.
Yeah, I thought I'll just add, if somebody wants to even come up on the video and interact, please feel free to. This is an open forum, and any questions that you may have, you may want to speak to a certain panelist, please feel free to do so. So, right? Yeah.
So maybe I'll go with the same question to Gita. What drives you and motivates you in an era where AI and robotics is changing so fast?
Yeah, thanks for this question. It's definitely a tough one because, again, as leaders specifically, we also carry a certain responsibility for our team members, for our area of responsibility, but also for the organization, and it also goes beyond that, right? So I would say for me, it's a very curious time. Yeah, because with the emerging tech, with technologies, as I mentioned, coming up each and every day on the horizon, it's a daily challenge, which I take in a positive way, that how to incorporate that and kind of align it with the responsibility as leaders which we carry. So I think again the key, similar to the question which came earlier, stay up to date. Stay up to date, what kind of technology is coming up, how it can impact your business, your topics, and even the society, and at the same time try to learn about it. So I think as a leader, we might not be the expert for each and everything, which is totally fine, because for that we usually have experts in our teams, in our areas. But I think a certain understanding really helps in seeing where are again the opportunities and where are also the risks. And where we as leaders might have to step in and say, hey, this is maybe a project which is again a little bit risky. You're using again, coming back to the data point, maybe some data which is which has not gone through some due diligence. So are we really as a corporate allowed to use that in such kind of manner? So I think questioning ourselves each and every day, and I think that's for me also kind of the mantra for innovation. Challenging the status quo, the continuous improvement process. It's very same for me with the new technologies, with the robots and with the AI. And I think that helps us as leaders to kind of have this fine thin line, maintaining the responsibility we have to ensure, at the same time not stopping any development in the technology areas.
That's awesome. Thanks, Gita. And I'll go with the same question to Aman as well.
So Shailendra, the question is very, very important and relevant right now. So what I would say is I have learned something from a gentleman called Samir Dholakia. So you must be wondering another terminology coming in. The answer is yes. The concept what he introduced, because of that concept, he won Best CEO Award for the medium-sized company levels, right? So Samir was CEO of SandGrid that time. So he has come up with 4H concept, and I'm going to add 2 more H to make it super relevant for today. 4H, what he said is, if you really want to be successful as an individual or an organization, you need to be happy, you need to be honest, you need to be humble, right? And what is the fourth one? Any guesses? Hungry, happy, hungry, honest, and humble, right? And now I am adding two more to stay relevant in future. One is hybrid. Be prepared that you are going to live with hybrid world, which is agentic AIs and employees working together. And the last one is, sixth one is hallucinations, right? We all are going to and continue to live in the world of AI, which is nothing but hallucination world. Therefore, don't just trust AI, trust your instincts, talk to people, build your network, and continue to build that tribe, which is human intelligence. The reason is I want to connect the dots by talking about, it is not something new. Maybe we are realizing the chat GPT is introduced to us recently in 2023. But if you go back to our Vedas, if you go back to Mahabharatas and Ramayanas, if you watch again, you will understand that these rishis and maharishis had the early access of chat GPT and all, which they used to fly, they used to use all the telepathy and everything. Let's take example of, say, Ramayana. Ravana, a lot of people think they had 10 heads, right? But he had the knowledge of 10 heads. But what happened even after having the 10 heads knowledge? He ended up doing something really which is not recommended or suggested, because we don't anticipate to do something what Ramayana Ravana did. Therefore it is important, just don't rely on AI for everything. Use your human intelligence, use your instinct, go within, introspect, talk to people, validate, and then take decisions. Thank you so much.
Someone, I think, a good example of how to be anchored in some of your core values and as you kind of adapt yourself to the new world. So the resilience of the leaders here is very clearly coming out. It's been demonstrated through the responses they've given. At the end of the day, it's all about staying curious, staying, going out of your comfort zone, and kind of dealing with the ambiguities of the unknowns and evolving from there. Right? I think that's true leadership, and that should kind of be an example for everybody that's listening in. I still don't see any questions in the chat window. We'll continue to wait for those. But given that we have maybe 5-6 minutes more, I have one last question for the panelists. I'll pose the question. We'll go around and get your views. We are moving so fast.
Amit Kumar has now started, and I am sure a lot of other people also will be motivated and start asking questions. So just read.
Okay, fantastic. So let me pause there and take Amit's question. How far are we to see the Matrix movie like reality in the near future? Amit, very interesting question. There used to be a saying. It said, "Sab Maya hai," right? It means it's the world is an illusion, right? That's the theme of Matrix movie. But let me allow the panelists to respond. Anybody that wants to pick this up.
Yeah, and Amit, if you want to even come up on video and introduce yourself, please do so. We'd love to see who you are.
Are you human or not? We want to validate.
Are you human or are you bot? I think that's the
checking human intelligence now.
In a hybrid session world. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So maybe I'll go first. So as much as the matrix-like scenario is concerned, so before generative AI came, I think when we look at Harvard's top 100 professions which will not go out of fashion and demand, I think all the creative ones were the ones which were thought to be most relevant going in the future, because we thought AI will come and take over all the mundane regular type jobs, right? Come generative AI, I think the coin flipped 180 degrees, right? Generative creative work is what taken over by AI. In fact, even today, some of the mundane jobs which consider structured data as their foundation are still not being automated, right? Because even generative AI is not good at structured data. So the reason I'm saying that is that I think as much as this August panel has an experience, I don't think we are staring at a crystal ball to say whether whether this is going to be the scenario or that is going to be the scenario. But I think I'm not a great fan of the Matrix movie. I still watch movies which have a lot more social and human content, right? But I think the reality falls somewhere in between. There are aspects that are changing more faster and in more different ways than we have ever imagined. There are aspects that are continuing to be developed. Like I think selfless, driverless cars has been in the works for a fairly long time, and I think I know, with due respect to my fellow panelist Gita here, I think it's still a long way ahead, right, in terms of selfless driving. But things like facial recognition at airport, you just walk in, and I think today the technology works extremely well, right? We never anticipated something like that can come. I mean, long story short, change will happen, just that we don't know which one.
Thanks, Upendra. Are there any other questions? I'll pause there.
One more.
Yeah.
Most of the use cases for AI is revolving around automation of repetitive tasks and nothing beyond that. Maybe profound use case is drug discovery and clinical management. That's, I'm assuming, just a statement that you're making, but okay, and you have a follow-up. May I request the panel to throw some light?
I can just go over, I can just
Please.
share. So it's a great question. The answer is we believe that, because that's what, again, our visibility and our whatever we see is everybody is talking about chat GPT is AI, right? But the answer is no. There is a lot happening in the clinical medicine space and the medical surgical and all those spaces, which is still not out yet, because people are making sure that, because this can be life threatening, right? People are doing all the due diligence, and then they have kept their solutions ready. I am actually a startup mentor for IIT Bombay and a couple of other institutions. I met a lot of amazing Gen Z and Alpha folks who have already developed something which is really amazing. Only thing is they're just figuring out the right approvals and stampings from international federations and Indian federations to launch their products. I can give you one simple example, and this is very basic one. How many of you go for blood sample testing for your body test and all? Even if you visit doctor after that, doctor will not be able to correlate from last 10 reports what is the trend which is going to change. Now it is very simple. You upload all 10 reports in the any of your LLMs, and LLM will tell you which direction you are heading to. Are you getting to more into diabetic, cancer, brain tumor, and so on? And you will be amazed to see the results. Only thing is, we just need to figure out, wait for some more time. You will see a very drastic change, which is already on our way, which we are not even realizing it, right? So it is happening in a very rapid way, and it is not just about automation and productivity anymore. So therefore, it's very dangerous as well.
No, I know a friend of mine who will, as soon as he gets the results from his lab tests and all that, he'll upload a copy into Gemini and see what it is saying before he goes to the doctor and gets the consultation done, right? I think, yeah, definitely. I think this pharma use case, I think we don't see it because those are results which are not generally shared in terms of how much time it has taken for them to discover a drug. But believe you me, there is significant and more usage of AI, agentic AI that is happening in that space. Just that it doesn't get published as much, but definitely I think in drug discovery, AI, generative AI, and agentic AI has a great role to play. And in fact, a lot of the usage of the GPUs, as NVIDIA calls out, is in that space. So that's where it's happening.
And also robotic surgeries, they're getting more and more applied.
Especially the remote ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Srinivas, I think just to go back to your previous point, if AI robotics is essentially, you feel is currently being used to automate existing repetitive tasks, I think they're the low-hanging fruits that are being tackled right now. But going forward, that's not how it is going to evolve. The industry is going to evolve by reimagining, redefining reframing their own processes, right? And that's why one of the things that I mentioned earlier, systems thinking is going to be a very, very critical skill for the talent of the future. How can you reimagine your workflows and your outputs and kind of think about it in the new era of AI and robotics?
Yeah, Shailendra. Thanks.
Awesome. We have another question coming in from Ravi. Will we see any destructive use of AI in geopolitics and warfare? Any of the panelists wants to pick this up?
I think 2 days back, Donald Trump's announcement of investment of $90 billion, I think $92 billion in AI and energy industry to support AI. I think it's largely being driven about US's ambition to be a AI superpower, clearly from a warfare standpoint, right?
Yeah, and just to add here, Upendra, whatever we have seen recently, India-Pakistan war, right? The narrative which was developed was majority due to the fake news generated by AI, right? They were taking some picture from like 2017-18 of India-China war and claiming something, and then we had to send a lot of people, humans, to justify that what did we do, and that is already happening. Geopolitics, I think in next couple of years the election will be decided who is going to win by AI, not by humans, and that's already there. If you check the study, there is a lot of study and research happening on this area. Next election will be won by AI, not human.
I think to be human, we need to go to another planet and restart the experience.
Wherever you go, AI will follow you now. So that's
So AI has already evolved, so we'll have to learn to live with it and benefit from it, right? I think that's how do you channelize the power of AI. I think that's all the time we have for today. I just want to summarize it and then hand it back to Puja to kind of conclude. Very, very insightful in the comments, thoughts shared by all our panelists. I think we are in an era where we are moving from generative AI into AGI or super intelligence, as people are calling it. That's the ability for a machine to be able to operate at the capacity of hundreds, thousands, millions of humans across all the dimensions of cognitive capabilities. At the same time, robotics is also rapidly evolving, from large machines to nanotechnology to humanoids, and computing is also very, very rapidly evolving. You take quantum computing, for example. Now, all put together, there is so much of power that that humanity will get in terms of physical as well as intellectual capabilities. It only goes to say, what is the best use that we can make as people, as organizations, as individuals, to benefit from that and control any potential bad actors from utilizing these same powers. Thanks, everyone. I'm handing it back to Puja now to kind of conclude this session.
Thank you all. I think, as I said, that we are also students of this subject because there's so much to learn with the perspectives. Everybody's journey is unique, and every industry is going through its own learnings. And while we brought a cross section of 4 industries, I think we spoke about healthcare, pharma, defense, and I think agriculture. There'll be just so many use cases today that are going to be there. This conversation really was, for us in the agenda of innovation and entrepreneurship and looking at what are the possibilities. But before we understand possibilities, we have to also acknowledge the context and the landscape. So this conversation today was to really bring forth that landscape through the speakers for us to sort of reflect in our own ways what is the kind of value we'd like to go back and add to our organizations. Entrepreneurship is nothing, or an entrepreneur is no one but somebody who really adds value, is a value creator, works with ownership and passion and commitment. Not to be, I think we got FOMO is something that we heard. JOMO is to really build that internal joy within us. And while things are overwhelming, still keep striving to really navigate the challenges, seize the opportunities, and look at how we can build a career. So thank you so much for joining in. We look forward to continuing this conversation. We have a couple of webinars as a roadmap to the conclave. We want to bring it all together in our Intrapreneurship Conclave, which is in November, and would look forward to all of you participating and co-creating, this new world with us. Because I don't think, as someone, began saying that there's no crystal ball. We are all trying to discover, and the more collectively and collaboration, and we strongly at Unfold believe that it's really the collaborative spirit, the collective intent is what will get us there. So thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you all in our next session. Thank you to all the panelists as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice evening.